grandmother, she is very special to me. That woman right there, could cook. I remember down in Mexico, she'd take us to fish tacos, and she taught me how to say "more please" in Spanish. And so whenever I just wanted to learn to say, I said "more please" in Spanish. She taught me a lot about gardening and stuff whenever we did it, because she loved to garden. I remember in her the house that she lived in here in Fayette, she would always, every year, Grandpa would plow it, and she'd go over there and she'd plant a bunch of seeds. And me and my brother would have to help her and, pick the fruits and all the vegetables that she had. And me and her and my brother always traveled a lot. She would always tell us songs and show us all these songs and what she learned, all these traveling songs, and they were very special to me as I grew up. My grandmother was very special. And I know that as she is in the spirit world, she's happy there. I know that I will see her again, not this life, the life to come. And I do bear my testimony. I know the truth of the gospel, and I know that Heavenly Father lives. And I know that she will make the celestial kingdom and live with her Heavenly Father once again and be with her family. Say things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
She got to meet at least some of my kids. I know I have more because I want to play for them. I think that anybody can matter. Feel the spirit with her. If you ever have a hard time, if you just at least sat with her, you just felt better. lot of pain. She did more work than I ever did my own house chores. And I always admired that of her.
I just can't help but think about all the services she's done. She's always helping others. I'm reminded this last week on Facebook, you know, all the friends she made in Mexico, posts that are making, one lady in particular, Alma. She didn't know. My mom didn't know Spanish, Alma didn't know English. So my mom taught her the sign language. And as a result, in this post that I saw, she's become involved with the handicap and helps the children because of my mom. I think of all the lives that she has influenced. The support she's given me, their trials, but her love was always there. She was always there for you, as much as she could. I think that's what's going to come away most from me is the love she's had, the love she shares, the true Christ love, you know, Christ-like love. She's shown me through example what it means to be, you know, caring for others, you know, not expecting anything in return, just doing it because it's the right thing to do. So his name is Jesus Christ.
I know you heard from me, but there's one story I wanted to include and I didn't, so I want to share it now. I remember when my mother got sick and she came to my house and Ricky kind of reminded me of this as well. She gave a lot of service. And she came to my house and she was very sick. And she wasn't very rich either. She was pretty broke. And we went to the store. She wanted to get a drink, like an orange juice or some water or something. I forget what it was, but we stopped at the store to buy it. She paid for it. I think she had some money. And there was a little jar on the counter with a picture of a little girl that needed an operation. And my mom put money in there. I've never been one to do those things. So I thought, oh, it's, you know, a scam, or I don't know if it's a scam or not. But it didn't matter to her. She was very destitute and sick, and she didn't care. She figured as long as she had the means to help somebody, she was going to do it. And I think she is. One thing I observe about my mother is she takes the gospel very seriously. And you can tell she contemplated what a true disciple of Jesus Christ, who a disciple is and should be. And she tried the uttermost to be that. And she is a true disciple of Jesus Christ. Thank you.
Miss Jackson and I'm not too tall. There's too many stories. I've done too many things with my mom. My kids always say, Mom, why don't we go and do something? I'm like, I need to rest. And they'll say, you know, basically say, well, I'll tell them why. Because I've already lived 50 years with my mother. That's how many things we did with my mother. I feel like I've lived 50 different lives. We were in gymnastics. She dropped us off at the pool in the summer. We'd be there all day. I'd come home from school, and she had the van packed to go to Mexico. And I know that they made compulsory laws to be in school because of her. Because like Jim said before, that I think it was Jim, that she was smart and learned, but she wasn't interested in school, probably because it was restrictive. She wanted to be free to spend time with her family, doing those things that she loved, and share them with us. And she did so many things. We did plays with her. We did talent shows. She signed us up for sign language classes. We had people at our house all the time. It was like the go-to house for missionaries. For at least a good solid 2 years. And then when they got off the missions, they'd return and come to see her. spent time with her, and our house was always open to them. We had Japanese students that would come and spend time at our home. We had the foster children that came, and which was all-inclusive. We all got to help because she was about service. So I feel like I don't have one story. There's so many. I was here just 8 weeks ago with some of my children. She had not seen my new baby that I have, and I wanted my baby to see her, my mom be able to see her. And we were here about 8 weeks ago, and I'm glad because we got to spend more time with her. Before it was her time to move on. I was just having a discussion with one of my brothers about that. She's been sick a long time, and she just held out as long as she could. And I have a feeling it's because she wanted to be here and spend time with us. Because she loved us, and we love her. I do have one funny story, and it's about Alabama. Because we're all from California. We live close to the beach. So when my sister moved out here, my mom decided that we would come and visit my sister. So this was the first time we ever came out here. And we took the 40 that was new to us. And my kids were little. We had Samantha and Susan and Brian and Steven. And I think Samantha was the oldest, and she was probably 9. No, 8 or 9, because that's the year that Kayla got. Yes. Because
6 turning 7.
you're right, because that's when Kayla was getting baptized in the river. And we weren't used to that either. So we're driving along on the 40, and everybody knows that my mom loves to make sure you're comfortable. She'll make sure she has food for you. She'll make sure you have a place to stay, or you can get your shower. And that's how the trip was. And it got dark as we approached Mississippi, the 78. Now that I know it's the 78, but to us it was uncharted territory. And we came down the 78, and it was dark. And, it's tricky to get over. I don't think it was called the 22 at that time. It was a little tricky to jog on over after Tupelo and get over here. And we're driving, and it's dark, and there's these thick old trees on the side, and we're like, where are we? It's like, a dead body could be out there, and nobody would know, it's just, it was like Alabama, and we're looking around, we're like, where are we? Finally came to like some little community in this woods. It was like a 2-way, 4-way stop, and somebody stopped on the other side. And my mom said, can I get out? And I'm going to ask that person if they know the direction to Winfield, Alabama. I said, okay. So she goes out there, she's talking with this lady. And the lady says to her, isn't that in Alabama? We weren't even in Alabama. And I'm like, oh my word, it was just the funniest story because that was my life, my mom's life. Her life was an adventure, and we went on it with her, and she loved to have us with her. She took us on. And I love my mom, the great example. And my brothers are right, that she was an example and being a disciple of us. And I thank my mom for the wonderful life and example she was. As they sing in Jesus Christ's name.
For those of you who don't know, I'm the favorite son. But actually, my mom always made us all feel like we were the favorite. We all did a lot with her. She, like Laurel said, she took us on an adventure. Everything, of all my travels, I've traveled the world. I always brought something back for her, or showed her something, or shared stories. And with that, she taught me a lot about life. When she got really, really sick a long time ago, had to have been over 10 years ago, I took her to Alaska. she just wanted to go. You know, we thought back then that she was getting close to passing. So sick as she was, she flew in first class to Alaska. I was working on the flight. She was in first class. And we got to Anchorage and she said, "I'm really, really tired. Why didn't you sleep?" And she said, "Because I was talking to the people in first class." She made friends everywhere. She shared her stories. I think she talked about fishing the whole way up to Alaska, how excited she was to be in Alaska because they had salmon. She wanted to fish for salmon. She was real sick up there. We took this tour where she had to lay down on the tour bus the whole time. Sometimes she'd pop her head up just to see out the window to see these sights, and then other sights she just mustered up the strength and we walked out. Like there's one area where we overlooked this beautiful, beautiful area. And imagine all the beautiful things that she saw in her life and from her point of view. She did saw some great things. She had a great perspective on life, and I hope I can try and take that and share that with other people too. Whenever I see something, she's always there. You know, wherever I go, she's always there. There are great things that in this world, and she opened my eyes to them. It gave me that fuel for travel. And she took me in when I needed a home. So I just took a lot of people in. A lot of people can say that she helped take care of them. And yeah, today I always felt like I was the favorite. I think she made us all feel that way.
I'm gonna just stand out here and say what I was gonna say. That's Sister Jackie. My son's prayer. When I met her, I could feel her spirit. And I could feel her spirit. I could feel her love. I could feel all this love. It's spirit was like there. And I thought, this is a great woman. You know, I thought how bad I'd like to see her more. I love all of you, and I'm so glad I got to be here. I thank your dad. He thanked me this morning. I thanked him immediately because I was here. I love you. I read my testimony, but I know for sure the brother wants to be president. This is the Lord's church. He's in on this from the beginning. I love your dad's story. I love all your stories. I read my testimony in the name of Jesus Christ.
One of my favorite stories that she used to tell when she was little is when she was in primary. They had these super huge windows in church that kind of rolled in. And when they'd go in the little primary room, she would open it and run out and go down the street and go home. Because she didn't want to be there. So my grandpa put bars on the window to keep her in. So when you drive down LA and you see the bars on the window, you're inside because of the community, but I knew that it was for my mom. Keep her in church because he got tired of chasing her back to church all the time. And I always liked how she told me when she'd get upset at school, when she was in grade school, she would just tell the teacher, "I'm out here," and get up and catch a bus and go to the beach and bum some wire, find a stick and fish until her dad came and picked her up when he got off work. He'd say, "Come on, baby, let's go." She'd start her on his bike and head on home. One of my favorite stories, I think the funnest time we had is my mom took that big Dodge van she has, that kind of camper van thing. And we took her car, and it was Laurel's family and me and my mom and Vicki and Brian and Stephen. And we were going up to see Peter and spend some time up there in D.C. And her van broke down, so we all piled into this van. And Laurel's 5 kids, my 5 kids, with Brian, Stephen, and Vicki, and my mom, and Laurel and I. We were all crammed in there, but we traveled up to Peter, and we traveled